So welcome back for the second part of the today afternoon, Italian afternoon at least. So it's my pleasure to introduce the next speaker, Dr. Isaac Soria. He is a biomedical engineer from the National Polytechnic Institute and a doctor of science with a specialty in automatic control from the Center for Research and Advanced Studies of IPM. He currently teach the chair of the 5 bioinstrumentation, 3 electronic, 2 digital system, 2 selected topic in the biomedical engineering degree, and at the master's and doctoral level in the processes program belonging to the PNPC, as well as the postgraduate degree in nanoscience and nanotechnology. He has experience in the production of technological equipment for medical devices, the development of medical robotic system, and automation of technology solutions. The current central themes of his research revolve around the development of new automatic control methodologies, the creation of new artificial intelligence method applied to bioprocesses, biomedical engineering and microsystems, and the implementation of instrumentation systems installed as central part of new medical devices. He has supervised 18 doctoral theses, 33 master theses, and 12 bachelor theses, and he has published more than 170 scientific articles in peer-reviewed and indexed journals. So with pleasure, I give the stage to Dr. Soria. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Francesca. Thank you for this invitation to participate in this Global Summer School in 2021. And today I want to talk about some of the experiences that the researching group where I am working in has about developing advanced biomedical robotics for clinical rehabilitation and assistive technology. I just want to present some preliminaries just for understanding the importance of these 2 areas, clinical rehabilitation and assistive technologies. And after that, I will make a brief summary about what the group has been done for more than 15 years, sorry. So, you know, service robots are these devices that may work autonomously or semi-autonomously working together with humans with the aim of performing useful tasks for the well-being of people. In particular, medical robotics rely in this classification of service robots. And these are defining the use of robots to perform different clinical procedures. Usually, we understand that medical robotics could be like a collaborator, not a substitute of the medical professionals, because we understand that medical robotics is trying to collaborate in some way with the professional medical doctors, taking into account the notable advantages that they have, for example, precision and miniaturization. The fields within clinical applications where medical robots can be applied include cardiac surgery, gastrointestinal area, pediatrics, or neurosurgery, for example. We can highlight several of the main achievements of this robotics. However, we need to consider that what we are looking for, in developing medical robotics is to replace some of the technical repetitive tasks that professional medical doctors are developing during their daily clinical practice. This is particularly true when we are speaking about rehabilitation medical robots. Why? Because usually what we want in rehabilitation procedures is to repeat some motions that the patient must do, considering that you need to apply the same force, the same frequency of motion, and this could be a little bit complicated for a physiotherapist professional. So the idea is to use the repetitiveness of these tasks as the goal for these medical robotic devices. And you know, this is more or less an advanced area in robotics all over the world. However, we need to consider several aspects here in order not only to develop the robot itself, but to consider the application, the particular application in the different type of rehabilitation that we have in traditional clinical practice. For example, we need to consider the adaptability level of the patient. We need to consider if the patient is collaborated with the robotic device. We need to consider if the patient is opposing to the activity of the robotic device. And we need to consider all of these elements in terms of providing the best healthcare we can for this patient that maybe is coming from an accident, a car accident, or that is recovering from a surgery or something else. So we need to take care about all these aspects. And even more, we need to consider also the psychological aspects of the rehabilitation, because, you know, taking into consideration that this patient is attached to this device, we need to be sure that this device is not generating some kind of dependence for the patient. You know, rehabilitation medical robots are more or less common in advanced economies, but in developing countries, we have these devices, but they are not so common, and they are not offering the enough assistance to the patients that we have. Obviously, the solution is to develop these devices ourselves with the integration of different areas like biomedical, mechatronics, and some other engineering altogether. Of course, we need the continuous participation of medical groups. And now, biomedical engineering, in particular in Mexico, is a very well-developed area that has promoted the application of innovative techniques for developing these rehabilitation medical robotics devices. What is the experience that we have at TUPIBI? Well, for more than 15 years, there were intensive researching efforts with the aim of developing novel medical robots that can be applied in patients. I will explain today the engineering parts of these devices, but of course there is a counterpart in the medical application that we are working together with several medical groups all around the country. These devices have been done using the enormous effort made by students from bachelor, master, and doctorate levels. And these devices have, some of them have been applied already in local hospitals. What we have included in these devices, we have included the clinical basis of anatomy, physiology, and of course, physiopathology, bioinstrumentation, systems theory, automatic control, power electronics, mechatronics. All of these subjects need to be worked together with the aim of developing these devices. And of course, we have solved the development of these medical robots with strong collaboration with several groups all over the country and with several groups in different countries all over the world. For example, we developed this device in order to help patients that have problems in his or her back. The idea is to create like an octopus device that can hold the back of the patient and that can mobilize this device. This was the first version. It was a little bit heavier and the instrumentation was not so tight. But after that, we developed this device that can hold the patient that is sitting down and that can mobilize. This device is feeling the pressure that we are using to hold the patient, and then we can mobilize the device considering the application of specific trajectories that we have or that we are collecting from the medical group that is giving care to the patient. Also, we developed a self-carrying robotic arm orthosis that can not only provide the continuous mobilization of the device, of the arm, sorry, but also we can implement a kind of electrical stimulation at the same time. And in that way, we can speed up the rehabilitation procedure using a kind of artificial intelligence system that can recognize if the patient wants to start the motion of the arm. And then using this artificial intelligence system, we can detect if this is true or not. We can start the motion and we can allow the patient to continue the motion. As if he or she is not doing the task, then we can apply a kind of electrical stimulation in order to force a little bit the continuation of this motion. This is called active rehabilitation, and this is giving what we know is giving a lot of improvement on speeding up the rehabilitation process. This is connected with, as I said, with an artificial intelligence algorithm based on artificial neural networks, and we can create the pure animated resolution of the motion, and this is how the device looks like. This device was awarded with a prize of engineering in biomedical engineering a couple of years ago. You know, this device is made of plastic, so it can be reproduced very easily, and the instrumentation is a little bit simple. Also, we were worried about the application of this rehabilitation process for pets, particularly for dogs, common dogs. And we developed this active rehabilitation system that can be worn by a dog, where we are moving the rear legs using a similar idea with a car that is holding or carrying the dog weight. And we can mobilize this device together with the motion intention that we can detect in the frontal legs. Besides, we created some kind of social robot that can interact with the patient with the idea of reproducing some emotions in order to help them to continue their rehabilitation, like if they were, let me say, interacting with some colleague or other person during the rehabilitation. This device is made up with a camera that can detect the emotion of the patient and that can respond with the same emotion. This idea was proposed by a psychiatry professional that says that this can help the patient to accept the rehabilitation procedure the better. Also, we included now with the COVID effect, the design of a nursery robot with the entire instrumentation where we can measure vital signs using the corresponding sensors. This nursery robot is programmed to follow the patient, and we can monitor the vital signs using, let me say, what is known as a smart mechanical design here. Is very simple. The robot is more or less light, and we developed the entire instrumentation. This robot can mobilize autonomously. And in the same way, we developed a kind of infant exoskeleton robot where we tried to use some of the ideas that you already saw in this presentation. We included this mobile robot. We included this idea of making exoskeleton or medical robots with plastic, and we developed this exoskeleton. This device was awarded with the best thesis in Mexico for robotics. The entire system was instrumented using even the measurement of electromyography signals with the aim of measuring the intention of motion for the patient. We developed the automatic control design for moving the legs, the robotic legs, considering the intention of motion that we developed together with an artificial intelligence algorithm that can detect what type of motion the patient wants to do. And this now is connected like here. You can see one proof here. Sorry, I don't have time to present the videos, but anyway, I would like that you can more or less imagine how the robot is moving the patient in order to continue the rehabilitation procedure all the time. You know, this device can be remove the limitation of having the patient all the time at the same spot. So here the idea is that the robot can move together with the patient with the aim of satisfying the psychological necessities of the patient, not because, you know, staying at the same spot could be so bored. So the idea is to remove that. And you know, because some of the patients that are using this robot cannot move the legs at all, the idea is to use the arms in order to make the intention of motion. And with the application of a new kind of signal classifier based on a particular differential neural network design, we created the classifier that can detect the motion intention. And of course, with this, we can control the evolution of the motion in the exoskeleton. This idea was, let me say, extrapolated to create a larger version of similar exoskeleton that now is working in a local hospital in Mexico City. This device was created with plastic using additive manufacturing. And, you know, this device now is working, is already tested with a few patients. And we are waiting for the opportunity to increase the number of patients that we can test with this device, with the aim of providing them best rehabilitation procedure that we can, considering that this robot is serving for a special kind of patients with the spinal cord injuries that are not common. Well, there are not specialized exoskeletons for this kind of pathologies. So we understand, according to the arguments given by the clinical group, that this is one of the first exoskeletons especially devoted to participate in the rehabilitation process of this kind of patients. So I just want to say thank you. I suppose there is no time to give profound conclusions, but as I said, I just want to say thank you to all of you for listening to me. And once more, I want to acknowledge the invitation to this Global Summer School. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for your very interesting and fascinating presentation, Dr. Sherizode. I have a question from the audience for you. They ask in the chat, what material is frequently used for the robotic skeleton?
Okay, usually these devices are made of steel, or some other kind of metals. But you know, we know from the medical groups that these devices are not so friendly to the patient's skin. So that's why we are including these small bags that are inflating and deflating with the aim of changing the pressure points. And the material is, in this case, we use it at additive manufacturing. So all these elements are made of plastic, polylactic acid.
And I think even because to avoid to create a too heavy structure,
yeah.
And so
this material looks even cleaner, which is an important aspect working in a clinical environment.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not sure. There is someone's typing here, but I'm not. I don't have the text
okay,
right now. Don't know. I don't know if. Yeah, here it is. Another question.
Okay.
How probes? I guess how many probes it is necessary to do for exoskeleton robot design?
How many?
How many probes?
Oh, well, yeah, it depends.
It's a nice question.
It depends on many aspects. You know, from the technical point of view, it's just testing that everything works together. But from the clinical trials, it's a lot of proofs that we need to apply here, because we need to test the material independently, we need to test the motion, we need to test the control, we need to test the instrumentation, the electrical instrumentation, and so on, so on. So, and after that, we need to prove everything together. And after that, we need to prove everything together with patients. And after that, we need to reprove everything together with patients. And, you know, we start continue working, continued work with clinical groups. But, you know, this is normal and this is good, because we need to be sure that the technology that we are offering for patients is the best that we can. So it's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm agree with you, of course. And what I saw even in the last period is that even in internet, you can find very incredible video showing this robot. They are even dancing, and the movements they are reproducing, actually they are so close to the one that humans are used to. And this is incredible, because actually if you have a look on robots, I don't know, even less than 10, well, let's say 5 years ago, the technology was not this level, and it's still increasing. So I think this is a very incredible technology that for sure will open a great solution in the medical system, but not just in the medical system, because for instance, they are used in the military field and whatever. So thank you very much for your efforts and for the results that you are obtaining in this field. So thank you very much.
In terms of medical robots, it's a great area for living.
And there is another question for you. They are coming. What is the most complicated of the test with these robots with the patient?
You know that the clinical doctors will accept the technology. It's not about technology, it's not about developing the robot, it's not about even the patient desiring to use the robot. It's that the clinical doctors accept that this technology could be helpful. Because there is let me say, suggesting idea that these robots will replace doctors, and this will never happen, for sure. So we need, that's why I said in a slide that it is truly important that we need, as engineers, we need to work together with clinical doctors, because they will say if this is correct or not. They will say if this is usual for patients, and so on, so on. So that's the real challenge here. But this is interesting because every time that you interact with persons from another discipline, you will learn a lot. You will suffer a lot, but you will learn for sure.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So I cannot see any other question on the chat. So thank you again, and hope to see you maybe in presence
Hopefully,
in the future. Not that, I mean, hopefully we will see you in presence.
Thank you, Dr. Francesca.
Sooner or later. Thank you very much.
Thanks to all the listeners, and see you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. And we're going to move to the last scientific presentation today. So we have Professor Augustine Inacio Cabrera Llanos. Okay, here he is. Welcome. He graduated in physics and mathematics from the School of Physics and Mathematics of the National Polytechnic Institute. He obtained his Master of Science and doctorate in the specialty of automatic control of the Center for Research and Advanced Studies of the IPN. He is also a member of the Mexican System of Researchers, and he has published more than 50 research articles in the engineering area and more than 20 in the finance area. Professor Cabrera Llanos has been an academic for more than 30 years in the biomedical engineering degree in the interdisciplinary professional unit of biotechnology, and professor for more than 10 years in the bioprocesses for postgraduate. His areas of interest are the application of intelligent system in the development of frontiers biotechnological instrumentation, the development of estimation algorithms in economic and financial variables using differential neuronal network techniques and puzzle logic. Pretty complicated. Thank you very much for being with us today, and the stage is for you, please.
Thank you very much for your introducing me. Good afternoon, UK. Buon pomeriggio, Italy, in Buenos Dias, Mexico. In this talk, I will describe the development of the blood glucose monitoring device called an artificial pancreas. Okay, let me show the presentation. Sorry, hold on in a moment.
You can share the screen using the command on the bottom in the middle.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
No problem.
Okay.
Okay. I want to locate my presentation. Sorry.
You got it. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Again. Now. Okay.
Okay, now we got it. Thank you. Please.
The talk plan is introduction, brief review of insulin pumps, control theory description, artificial intelligence implementation, control structures, and finally results. Okay, the first point is that diabetes is a disease that affects a large majority of people in the world. The following figure shows the number of patients, thousands of people affected by diabetes in 2019. The following figure shows the number of deaths by region due to diabetes, denoting the importance of this study and its medical care. Briefly, we describe diabetes and a metabolic disorder that cause chronic hyperglycemia, and the causes would be genetic, exogenous factors, and so on. How the glucose is controlled? Insulin is a hormone that regulates blood glucose. Its function is to control the rate at which glucose is consumed in muscle cells, fat tissue, and the liver. The higher the response, the greater the percentage of sugar in the blood, and therefore the more insulin will be required. The beta cells on the pancreas can recognize the increase in glucose and release insulin in 30 seconds. By introducing glucose into the cells, insulin manages to restore the blood glucose level in 2 hours. In this graph, you can see the dynamics for the glucose-insulin interaction. What is the importance for to control the glucose? Due to the diabetes illness is a chronic hyperglycemia, caused in chronic hyperglycemia. This could be damaged the eyes, kidneys, nerves, heart, and blood vessels. These are very, very dramatic illness. So the blood glucose levels must be stable or controllable. The patients to have this illness need to have an individual treatment. So the development of automatic device to control glucose is a necessity. The method by which the blood glucose level is controlled using an insulin dosage is called an artificial pancreas. Okay, we review insulin pumps, a brief review. First, Arnold Kennedy was the one who designed the first insulin pump model in early 1960s. The device, like the photograph is shown, was a backpack. The algorithm was to sample the big size, obviously, and the infusion set had to be connected on the intravenous level. In 1978, the first insulin pump was marketed. The name was After Ring or Big Blue Block. Provide insulin supply for diabetic requiring low doses. No models allowed the administration to be secure. The size is average. And some models require the use of screwdriver to adjust the dosage like tune controls. Oh, sorry. My mouse is very sensible.
No problem.
In 2006, the GDRF made a classification between first and second generation on insulin pumps due to the hybrid or integrated models. The paradigm model, Rebel 520, uses an continuous glucose monitoring, CGM. This predicts alerts, dose consumption, detection of glucose levels on screen displays, and use batteries. The paradigm 550 proportion flexible insulin delivery, integrate with continuous glucose monitoring, easy to use, security optimization, ensures continuous and flexible insulin delivery. A quick check combo, remote control to the glucometer, reservoir capacity of insulin, 315. Insulin doses can be increased to 1.05 to 1.01 units per hour in one blocks, and has an alarm that informs to the existing occlusion for this. The following models are micropumps. They lack connection tubes between insulin pump and body. The name is Omnipump and the name pod. The insulin can be delivered in any place in the body. The reservoir you may have can contain up to 200 units. The person in charge of administration is personal major diabetes, an application. And you can take a different data for from the patient. Other systems say the same characteristics, but they have warnings for hypoglycemic episodes, like the Minimed Paradigm Bio. In 2016, the FDA approved the use of Minimed 670. And this was the first hybrid system to launch on the market. They use the same continuous glucose monitor, increase of capacity, manage of the increments of doses or insulin doses, and the system works with battery. In February 2020, the Slim X2 have been approved, and increase the patient can make modification to it based on their personal preference. They reduce the frequency occurrence of hypoglycemia in this duration over the time, and all the characteristics before described. Okay, we have in this insulin pumps profile for the distribution of the insulin. These are a constant measure. These are a constant release, like in the figure 1A, to show the relation to constant in a region of time. In the figure 1B, we have the breakfast bolus, lunch bolus, dinner bolus, and bolus collection for the ingesta of food. Another problem is there are a lot of types of insulin for use with these pumps. And in this graphic, I show the aspart, regular, NPH, the dimer, and all the types of insulin can be classified in two types: the large and short times for use, or for acting, sorry. Okay, from the point of view on the theory, on control theory, mostly of these devices are described by the system or open loop system. Here, we have the description of the open loop system. And in this open loop system, we have the input to the controller and the controller to the process to manage the levels of glucose. At this point, we use a model described by the compartment theory. In the compartment theory, we use the mass conservation to establish the evolution for the glucose, insulin, and the interstitial or exogenous insulin concentration. These are nonlinear differential equations to describe the interactions. The model is called Vermont's model. The idea is to use this model to develop a closed loop system. A closed loop system consists to think about the system to control by the patient is a process, and we need to measure the blood glucose with the continuous glucose monitoring and control the insulin dosage for the insulin pump. In this situation, we need to observe the idea to the external information for the patient could be exercise, meal, stress, and something like that. For the implementation, they use an artificial intelligence using the application on differential neural network. This is a description for this structure. Mainly, this structure have three parts. The first part in the matrix A, it's a vector of variables. The matrix A is the stabilization for the system. W1T is the matrix for the weights for the internal states. W2 is the matrix for the states which interacted with the output. And GTS is the output for the system. The structure is shown in this figure. Okay, in the part you can see the input U, and they moved through the system, and you have the feedback to control this evolution. Okay. We have several algorithms for do that. The first algorithm uses the description of different neural network to identify the process of the evolution for the dynamic glucose and insulin concentration. But we need some function to move the weights for the differential neural network. These are called learning laws. In this equation, the learning laws are shown. There are matrix, the nonlinear differential matrix, and the graphic is shown in this section is the Vermont model using only the characteristics of the error between the Vermont model and the differential neural network to adjust the weights in the learning laws. If we think about how glucose levels are maintained, this is carried out of measuring only the glucose concentration through a glucometer, but it's only variable measure. A schema that allows determine the variables that are not measured with the glucometer is called an observer. And since we use a neural network, that requires the name of neural observer. For this scheme, the neural observer shows the new learning laws, and it's a new algorithm to use to adjust or measure the glucose levels. If we want to add complexity to the variation of the variables, we can add that the system can also have a reference model. This would mean that we would like to be able to modify the dynamics of glucose and that it behaves following the reference. In this new structure, we have our control to adjust the model, one model of reference for follow the glucose concentration follow this model. This control is called Hamilton-Jacobi control. Okay, we need to know how these algorithms behaves. First, the evolution of the Vermont model variables are shown. You can see the evolution for the insulin, glucose, and interstitial insulin. In the graphic you see the different bolus ingesta food for each part of the food. In this graph, the different variables of neurons are present. And in the right side, we have the concentration for the glucose and the glucose estimator. In the part down, we have the insulin and the estimator. And in the left side, we show the estimator dynamics. You can see how the estimator is closer to the real value of insulin. Finally, the graph of the algorithm with the reference model and Hamilton-Jacobi are shown. This is more complicated, and we use a reference model to make the very complicated profile for the glucose. Check how the reference system and the AGS main tracking model converge. This very, very close. And in the right side, we have the interstitial insulin variable and the insulin variable. You see how the profile is so complicated. Finally, in conclusion, the algorithm shown can be implemented in the smart insulin pumps that will allow us to get closer to the goal of one day having an artificial pancreas. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you very much. I don't know if we have questions from the audience. I'm checking on, I cannot see anything on the net, on the chat. I have just one comment for you. Yeah, no question on YouTube. I have a comment actually, because it was pretty far from what I'm used to work with. So I'm biologist, so I'm used to work with engineering, but when numbers are too complicated, I just trust them and that's it.
Yeah,
so, yeah. Here we have a question. What next to probe the modeling?
The next step is to develop in an embedded device. This means to develop an automatic system like the insulin pumps can revise and use in that way to develop a smart insulin pump.
And someone is typing, so let's wait if there is another question. So I always say, yeah, that sometimes it's very nice to collaborate, because actually you're gonna learn from specialists in other fields. So in this way, I try to learn how to move in this direction. Mm-hmm. And yes, modeling actually is fascinating every time, because it may help to simplify the reality, but the way to simplify the reality is pretty complicated. So it's a nice balance, but once that we have a model, actually it helps a lot in biology too, in medicine too. So it was just a comment just to go to the end of this presentation. So we have no more questions. So I would like to thank you for the time spent with us and for your interesting questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And so we have finished with the scientific session, and we move to the last cultural session. So our colleague Maria Cero will be again with us to close the school. Before it's too late, I would like to remember to UPO student that the final exam related to the credit related to this school will be available from Monday to Thursday in the next week. And that's it. Sorry for this short communication. So Maria, please, the stage is for you.
Thank you, Francesca, and good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for continuing with us. Thank you too for all the presenters for showing us such interesting topics. Surely, if this session has been face-to-face, we will have the special opportunity to share a dinner, a special dinner, and maybe we could have a traditional Mexican dish to offer. Continue with the cultural session. Following video named Tasty Mexico City places us in the community that surrounds Upibi and show us how it is to prepare a unique typical Mexican dish, the delicious red pozole. And since Mexican culture is very much oriented toward celebration, we integrate a classic Mexican song accompanied by a choreography made by UPVIP and dance workshop. We hope you can enjoy it, and thank you so much for attention, and thank for all who make this possible, and thank for the new friends that we are seeing. Okay, I'm going to share the video. Thank you for all.
We are the interdisciplinary professional unit of biotechnology of the National Polytechnic Institute, also known as UPIBI by its acronym in Spanish, the best biotechnology university in Latin America. Our department offers 5 undergraduate degrees: engineering and biotechnology, food engineering, environmental engineering, pharmaceutical engineering, biomedical engineering, as well as graduate level degrees. Aside from our academic offers, we also have cultural and sport activities. We are a community of more than 3,000 people. We are made up students, professors, university support staff, officials, cleaning and gardening staff. We are driven by values such as tolerance, respect, teamwork, discipline, perseverance, persistence, empathy, and love for what we do every day. Pounding under the hill and over a lagoon, a burning sea snail. At UPIBI, we know that food is essential for the academic and intellectual development of our community. Today, we want to introduce to you an exquisite dish which has undoubtedly been, century after century, an icon of Mexican culture, pozole. Pozole has its origins from pre-Hispanic times. It was eaten only by kings and priests, and it was offered to gods in ceremonies, with which they asked for fertile lands and success in the battles to come. In present times, it has become very popular. If you visit Mexico, you'll find white and green pozole, served with toppings such as seafood, chicken, meat, among others. There are many types of pozole, since in each region of the country, it is prepared and eaten differently. Close to the facility of our institute, there are several places that offer it. Among them, the red pozole stands out and is the favorite of many people, including those of us who made this video. Next, we will show you a fragment of the program, The Route of Flavor, owned by Channel 11, the first public, educational, and cultural television station in Mexico, which also belongs to the National Polytechnic Institute.
Pozole rojo, así como lo dijo, sí, como lo dijo Tere. Oye, sí. Tere, cuéntanos cuáles son los ingredientes para el pozole rojo.
Es maíz pozolero blanco.
Ajá.
Carne de puerco yo le pongo espinazo, patita de puerco y pierna.
Qué sabor debe tener esa carne.
Sí, muy rico.
Sí, porque todas esas partes le dan mucho sabor.
Sí. Dicen que el hueso le da sabor al caldo.
El hueso. Y la grasita.
¿No? Sí. Bueno, pues...
primero háblanos del maíz.
El maíz se cose con cal, como si fuera para las tortillas, pero este es el maíz pozolero. Aquí ya lo tenemos reventado, que quede blandito. Blandito.
Vean qué hermosura, porque aquí, como bien dice la palabra Tere, reventó, entonces como una flor ahí que explotó.
Sí.
Y que mira, explota en nuestras bocas con una textura. Hombre, esto está muy rico.
Hasta se podría botanear, ¿verdad?
Es que no está mal, ¿eh? Con poquita sal. Y aquí tenemos los pedazos de carne, digamos, o las partes de la carne que tú utilizas, que nos recomendabas por el sabor.
Sí, este es espinazo de puerco. Pierna.
Con el hueso, que bien.
Con el hueso, sí. Y patita. Yo le pongo patita, pero es al gusto.
Claro,
la patita es al gusto, pero yo le pongo estas tres
pierna,
carnes.
Que es una muy buena carne.
Esta se deshebra.
Sí.
La pierna se deshebra y ya le ponemos.
Y la patita, pues que también yo creo que le comparte ahí ese sabor por el cuerito, por la grasita que tiene.
Sí, el nerviecito.
Ándele.
Entonces.
Bueno, ¿qué sería lo primero que haces? Porque tú ya tienes ahí la salsa preparada.
Ya, sí.
Tú la haces. Me decías que esta, por ejemplo, está en licuadora. Sí. Pero pues antes también se puede hacer en metate, ¿no?
Sí. Ese tiempo creo que a mí ya no me tocó.
¿Ya no te tocó?
No me acuerdo.
Ay, se me hace que ya dijiste, voy a hacer como que no me acuerdo.
O será el secreto.
O será el secreto que no nos quieres compartir, Tere.
No.
¿Qué es lo que tiene esa salsa?
Chile guajillo, chile mirasol, ajo, cebolla, pimienta, clavo y comino.
Pimienta, clavo, comino,
sí.
Sal, imagino.
Sí, sal.
Tere, ya nos dijiste los ingredientes del pozole rojo y ahora sí vamos con la preparación.
Bueno.
¿No, Tere?
Sí. Aquí ya tengo el maíz ya bien reventadito.
Bien reventadito.
Bien reventadito, sí.
De ahí sacamos de aquí, ¿verdad, Tere?
Sí.
Que ya está reventado. Entonces, una vez que ya está reventado, ese nada más lleva el agua con un poquito de sal. ¿Está sazonadito?
Sí, porque a la carne se le pone también sal, ya para agregarle el chile. Entonces ya le agregamos el chile.
Ahí está.
Aquí está. Entonces vamos por la carne. La carne ya cocida, que se coció aparte.
Tú tienes ya la carne cocida, que está por acá,
Vamos a poner, aquí están las patitas, bien cociditas. Aquí está el espinazo.
Claro.
El espinazo. Y la pierna, esta va a ir deshebradita para que salga así más, bueno, con más...
Sí, deshebradita, más fácil para comer también, claro, ¿no?
Sí.
¿Cómo lo comen aquí en Jesús María?
Bueno, yo... En mi casa, así con mis conocidas, casi es el pozole en la Navidad. Para Navidad.
Ah, para Navidad.
Sí, para Navidad.
Mira.
Sí, porque ¿qué van a hacer? Pozole, tamales. Y ya raro la que dicen que es otra comida, o sea, pero la mayoría de aquí se usa el pozole y los tamales.
En Navidad.
En Navidad, sí. Bueno, pues le agregamos la carne deshebradita.
Y voy a acercar igual los otros trocitos que teníamos, ¿no?
Sí, ahí está.
Uno de estos.
Entonces va la patita. Yo le echo la pata.
Primero la pata.
Tú, como sea, y tú
todo
le pones...
Ya lo he hecho así.
Sí.
El caldito que
caldito.
quedó. Finalmente, ahí va todo el concentrado de sabor.
Sí. Ya nada más esperamos que hierva y ya.
Y está listo.
Y listo para comer.
Uf. Pues ahí está el pozole que... ¡Ay! ¿Con qué sirves esto, Tere?
Le ponemos...
¿Con qué se acostumbra a servir el pozole aquí?
Le ponemos ya en el plato servido, le ponemos lechuga, le ponemos cebolla, orégano al gusto, cilantro y su limón.
Muy bien, pues esto está,
ahorita
casi
lo vamos a
listo
disfrutar.
prácticamente. Estamos nosotros también muy listos para disfrutarlo.
Lo vamos a disfrutar.
Están también los tamales que están terminando de cocerse.
De cocerse.
Y pues estamos en la ruta del sabor, aquí en Jesús María. Sí. No se vayan porque estamos a nada de disfrutar estos platillos.
Falta degustar. Degustar el pozole.
Ahí está.
Y luego los tamales.
Muy bien, me parece muy bien.
Las mujeres de la Revolución Mexicana no solo fueron aquellas valientes adelitas y soldaderas, también fueron enfermeras, espías, militares, mensajeras, pensadoras, políticas y periodistas. Sin ellas, el movimiento revolucionario no hubiera sido el mismo y México no sería la nación que es.
Mujeres de la Revolución Mexicana, martes, 22 horas.
Estamos aquí en la Ruta del Sabor con Tere. Llegó el momento que tanto estaba esperando. Probar estos deliciosos platillos. Pero hay que probar el pozole.
Pozole rojo.
Exacto.
Pozole rojo.
Entonces, ¿qué te parece si hacemos esto para acá? Mira, yo lo voy a hacer a un ladito. No vamos a desperdiciar nada. Pero vamos a ver cómo se sirve el pozole y cómo acostumbran también a acompañarlo aquí en Jesús María. Vean nada más. Ay, Tere. Ese ya reposó.
Ya.
¿No? Entonces, los sabores seguramente ya se intensificaron. Sí. Ya espesó también un poquito el caldito. Vean.
Vamos a ver.
A ver. Ándale, que tenga de todo, claro. Teresita. Teresita, ¿te dicen Teresita?
Sí. Teresita.
Mira nomás.
Y cuando andan enojados, mejor ni digo, ¿cómo? Cuando se enojan conmigo.
No, pero mira, con un pozolito de estos los contentas, Tere.
Sí.
Ve nomás. Me le pusiste, lleva, pata, espinazo.
Pierna.
Y pierna.
Pierna deshebradita.
Lleva de todo.
Bueno, entonces...
A ver, mira. Vamos a hacer a un lado la salsita. Aquí tenemos las tostaditas. Y me imagino que hay que prepararlo con todo esto tan bonito. A ver, ¿qué te parece si tú lo preparas así al gusto, a tu gusto, para que se vea bonito?
A mi gusto. Y también sabes la lechuga.
Aquí está la lechuguita. Aquí está la lechuga, pero ahí está, mira.
Entonces, yo
de todo
le pongo, o le voy a poner con mi mano.
Sí, dale. No, tú prepáralo. Presúmenos ese pozole de Aguascalientes.
Le ponemos lechuga. Ponemos cebolla.
Muy bien.
Cebollita.
Ay, Dios mío.
El cilantro.
Ahí va el cilantro.
Sí.
Yo creo que alguien se dio cuenta que hay pozole porque ya empezó la fiesta. Alcanzo a oír la música.
Sí, verdad. Ahí viene el postre. Anda anunciando el postre.
Sí. Uy, pues al rato lo detenemos ahí para... ¿Qué son nieves, helados o qué será?
Sí, son helados.
Esa es la maravilla de estos lugares. Sí. Que aparte pasa el del helado, el de la leche bronca. Sí. Los de los quesos.
Los quesos, las tortillas.
No para uno de comer.
Las tortillas. Le ponemos...
Rábano, orégano.
El orégano al gusto también.
Muy bien, y yo te voy a ayudar con un toquecito de limón, un juguito, mira, que también pues es al gusto, ¿no?
Sí.
Ahí está. Vean este plato. Uno ve estos platos, Tere, y le entra a uno el amor por esta tierra, por nuestro México, y por supuesto, en este caso estamos en Jesús María, así que amor por Aguascalientes.
Y que les queden ganas de volver. Van a ver
muchas,
que sí.
Muchas. Sí. Bueno, pues vamos a probarlo.
Ponemos esta cucharita.
Ajá. Con esa misma, mira, iba a agarrar de acá.
Lo acompañamos con tostaditas.
Ay, la tostada, Tere.
Se acompaña con tostaditas.
Estos rituales también me gustan. Cómo te seduce, ¿no? Ver a alguien preparar un plato así con esos toques finales, esos juguitos el juguito de limón.
De todo. Sí, el limoncito es al gusto también.
Claro.
Pueden ponerle o no le pueden poner.
O no, para probar los sabores del caldito. Y miren, esto también disfruta uno y es parte de un ritual.
Sí. ¿Qué tal?
Hombre. Teresa, ¿qué es esto?
¿Pozole?
pozole.
Pozole rojo.
Pozole rojo, está buenísimo.
Sí.
Oye, una agüita de sabor con tantas frutas que se dan aquí.
Pues sí, también.
La guayaba.
La guayaba.
Hay mucha guayaba aquí en Aguascalientes.
De Aguascalientes.
Claro.
Sí.
Bueno, pues miren, uno más en honor a Aguascalientes y a esta tierra. Dilo otra vez.
Y viva Aguascalientes.
Ahí está. Con esa enjundia y ese amor.
Sí, así debe de ser.
De Tere. Vamos a seguir. Ahorita vamos a servirnos y a sentarnos como debe ser.
A degustar. Claro.
Esta fue la ruta de sabor aquí en Jesús María, en Aguascalientes. Gracias, Tere.
No, gracias a ustedes.
Gracias por.
So thank you very much. Actually here is almost dinner time in Italy, so I really appreciate this video. I'm not sure I will be able to reproduce immediately this receipt, but I will try to do it in the future. So I'm really sorry because we are late. So what I'm asking you is to go to the feedback. So Professor Hidalgo will help me with sharing the screen. And at the very end of this day, we will have a kind of surprise just to close the summer school in a wonderful way. So
I just need for Maria to stop sharing, please, so I can share my screen.
I'll do it for you. Okay.
Yep.
Great. So we're gonna see this on the screen, how to connect with Devox. The ID is the same we used in the last days, 178-384-041. In Italian 178-384-041. In Spanish and Mexican, I don't know. Sorry, I will study for the next summer school. So I will be prepared for the third language. So, okay. So the questions are the same. The same that we shared yesterday. Okay, we already have 8 students connected. So which institution are you from? NS, IPN, UPO, MMU, or others? So 10 persons connected, 7 already answered, 8, 9. Okay, I will give 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's close. Good. So we have a pretty nice distribution. And second question is, which country are you from? 14 persons are connected and they are start responding. So let's give them the time. Okay, I will give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, close. Thank you. And okay, Mexico absolutely present, but Italy is a small part, but it's there. So that's nice. Great. So next question, which field defines your course best? Medicine, biotechnology, bioengineering, biomedicine, neuroscience, genetics, or dentist and reconstructive, or others? 14 people are attending the test, the feedback actually, 7, 8. Let's give them time to proceed with answering. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Biotechnology is absolutely present, and then others. That's nice. Thank you for answering. Next question, gender, female, male, or prefer not to say. Here we have absolutely no points, so do whatever you want. No problem about this. And let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Female. This time our female dominance. Yes, it was 50-50. So, okay. Let's move to the next. Which session did you enjoy today the most? Cultural session, scientific session, or both equally? Okay, 5, 4, 3, okay, closing, 2, 1, go. Equally both. Okay, that's nice. So we appreciate that our efforts is appreciated even by the audience. That's good. Thank you so much for this information. If you're not from today's hosting country, are you more inclined to travel in the future to the country after today's session? Yes or no? You are used to this question, so you are faster today. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. So they enjoyed this session even today. Great. Thank you. If you do not speak already the language of today's hosting country, are you more inclined to learn it in the future? Yes or no? Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Close. Yes, okay. So this will be useful even for internationalization. Will you be interested in participating in another international summer school, face-to-face, virtual, either? No. Okay, let's give a few seconds more and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we got it. Okay, so we will keep this in consideration. Thank you. And what did you enjoy the most? And in this case, we will not show your answer. And so we will use it for improve this experience for the next time. I will give you a few seconds for this. Just a few seconds more, because in this this answer requires maybe a little bit more time to be completed. So I would like to tell you even that right after this session, we will, as I say, proceed with the cultural session, just to happily ending the summer school. So do not go away. And okay, I think I'm gonna give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's it. Thank you so much for all the attendance that are captured. So we got it. And I will give back the stage to Maria. So please, Maria, enjoy the ending of the summer school. I would like to thank you, all the colleagues and the students that participate. So, and I really hope to see you face to face next time. And anyway, even virtually in case. So thank you very much. Maria, it's your turn.
Thank you, Francesca. And we have a special song in order to close this important event. And thank you for all the attendance, and thank you for all the who make this possible. We have to share again, and we are listening to the final song. Thank you for all.
Gracias a ustedes porque nos vinieron a visitar y pues aquí los esperamos pronto.
Que vengan. Se la van a pasar increíble. Sí. Oigan, ese fue un pájaro.
Sí.
La naturaleza, los animales y, por supuesto, la gastronomía.
La gastronomía.
Los espero yo la próxima semana para seguir conociendo México a través de sus sabores.
Eating pozole is a party that is always accompanied by music and dance. Let's enjoy our food accompanied by the following piece, which was made by the UPIBI World Dance Workshop and with the incredible voice of our colleague Fernanda Flores Martinez, who is about to graduate this school year. Congratulations! And as the saying says, música maestro.
Al despuntar la mañana, bajando por el sendero de la sierra la pradera, vamos citando sus quejas con su flautín de carrizo, seguido por sus ovejas como si fuera un hechizo. El flautín del pastor al arrear canta así. El pastor ya va de vuelta, pues el sol se está ocultando. Va subiendo por la cuesta para guardar su rebaño. Con su flautín va llamando una a una sus ovejas y les va comunicando sus goces y sus tristezas. El flautín del pastor
Okay, thank you for all. Thank you for joining with us in this event, and see you soon. Thank you.